Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can turn your space from this into something that looks like this. For not very much money at all, you can have something that looks like this. Now the reason I'm making this video is because one of my subscribers actually commented on one of my really old videos saying, hey, I really like the look of your YouTube space, how do you achieve this? So I thought it'd be really fun to go step by step and show you the process of creating a super affordable YouTube setup. Now you might be wondering where I am. This is the other end of my shed or studio. This is the side that you never see because this is where I dump all of my stuff. When I'm tidying that side of the studio, it all comes over this side. But this used to be my main shooting area for YouTube videos. To be honest, I really liked it, but I fancied a change, so I moved it all around, made it all different. But let's put it back and you'll see just how simple it is to achieve that effect. Now the first thing we're going to need is some kind of backdrop, and you can use those big rolls of photographic paper on rollers and they work really well, but they are quite expensive. What I tend to use are blinds, like this one. This is just a cheap blind that I bought off of Amazon. I think it was about £57. And I'll bring that down. It's probably a little bit dark in here now, so I'm just going to adjust the camera settings. Okay, so you should be able to see me. So we've spent about 50 quid on a backdrop. Obviously you could just paint a wall black and that would work really well as well, but I like the flexibility of being able to lift that blind if I want to. To be honest, I never lift it, it's always down. It's also great when I want to do product photography because I shoot the products on this desk and I have that blind as my black background. It just works really well and it doesn't cost very much money. Now the next thing we need to sort out with this setup is lighting. At the moment I'm using a cheap little tube light from B&Q. It's an all right color temperature, but it doesn't really work for a YouTube light. So what we're going to be using, let me just get it, is one of these. This is a newer SL60W, super cheap. You can get this plus a massive softbox on Amazon for about 100 quid, maybe on eBay. 125 quid, you'll get the light, you'll get the softbox, and you'll get a stand. So you really want to mount your softbox at about a 45-degree angle. This isn't quite that. Let's just bring it down a little bit more. That was a bit too much. Ugh. Okay, that's not bad. So it's a 45-degree angle. We're going to have it nice and high, or as high as our light stand's going to allow us to get it shooting back at our desk. We're going to have it on one side or the other of our desk because that will create a nice Rembrandt effect on our face with the lighting. So let's put this nice and high. That's probably a little bit too high for the caliber of this lighting stand, but it's going to do for our purposes. Okay, and now I'm going to turn off this cheap, nasty tube light, and we're going to see what the difference is. Okay, so you can already see what a drastic effect this has actually had. I'm being lit by a daylight colored light, I've blocked out all the other light in the space, and I've got a black backdrop. This means that I'm now in control. I can make this scene look however I want it to look with different lights. The next thing we're going to add into our setup is this Rgb Par Cam that I bought from Amazon. I'll put a link in the video description. It was about 26 or 27 pounds, I think. And we're just going to mount that directly above our head, shooting back down to that backdrop, just to add a little bit more color. And it's going to make me pop and stand out away from that backdrop. Okay, not looking too bad at all, and obviously now we need to move the camera. The camera is not quite in the right position, so let's move it in front of the desk. Okay, so we are getting there, and actually I really like the look of this, and I have thought about painting this entire wall black just so I can get right to the edges. Obviously we're going to have to zoom in a little bit more, and the placement of the camera is really important for a shot like this. You want to make sure that all of your edges are straight, you want to make sure you've got a little bit of desk in shot but not too much, and you want to make sure you've got a little bit of headroom above you. Obviously I've got a lot of space around me at the moment, but that's because I'm using a super wide angle lens. So we're going to change lens now. Let's see what a 35mm looks like. Okay, not too bad, but I don't want to see the edges of these blinds. So what I'm going to do is change lens again. I'm going to zoom in even further and push that camera right back almost to the other side of the room. Just for your reference, I'm shooting on a Sony a7C, which is a full frame camera. If you're shooting on an APS-C camera, then something like a 30mm or a 35mm should do just fine. I'm going to be using a 50mm just because I'm using a full frame camera. Okay, so this is the finished result, and I think it looks pretty good, to be honest. All we've bought is a cheap LED Par Cam, a blind off of Amazon, and a cob light. That is assuming you already have a desk and a pretty good camera. I think this setup's pretty cool because you could just take all this down and put it all back up every time you wanted to make a video. It doesn't really take up that much space, and I could be sat much further back, have that light further back, and it would take up even less space. With some fine tuning and some tinkering, you could also move that camera closer with a wider lens. It just would take some finessing, some fine tuning. Let me know in the comment section below, is this something you're going to be doing? If you were going to have a YouTube space, is this something you'd want it to look like? Can you think of any improvements? Something that I've missed out on when I've been creating this space. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again really soon.